Tuesday, November 12th, 2013. Call session to order at 11:54. 11:54. Manuel, Editor Matt covers up. Mas Giovanna gonna come now.
Understand the gates you Mabinchiga Akhaja you could be speed you could I will have to do yoga by once you get the each team like home getting your history you could get you go so that you say home you got one kiss together Wabe Kula see them marvel out when you go out you they were all attribute for this but Sar you could Kadika you could Olewa Chida you could Saul Chia Mahaligali, Alida, Vajakish, you could Asa Beloka, Malusa, you could you regularly to politician. Mouse at good time, the you could any mighty you could regularly to politician. Allow lady had a deal to put a regular to Mouse to you could check, but it has a seat check, you could regularly. Yeah, I wish of Solomon was to you. But how we took you, raise my Harish home, you are fishing again. I'm a pass or she had. But I'm sorry, she had you by putting ring at it. Maria, she spoke you, and she couldn't believe about it. Bobby, all I got you by you are fishing. Mouse to you, but oh, she, you, she, but as I bet you, she got. Baba chip you could really go. They watch that. Oh, Baba, you really go too. I guess you walk out.
Roll call, two-leggers.
Two-leggers, Black Lodge.
Pretty Pink, Black Lodge.
Other medicine, Reno.
Kyle Branch, Reno.
Not afraid, Ashwajicha.
Go to your Velasquez.
Not afraid, Bighorn. Look at him, Bighorn.
D Cream, L Cream.
Hug Zero Creek.
Stewart, Mighty Field.
Full cross position.
Goes ahead, Bachwa. So there's a quorum of 13 members for this Tuesday, November 12th special session. Goes ahead, I appreciate everybody for showing up, and Vice Chairman Wilson and Bill Watt, also Randall Three Irons, and then Larry Blacksmith, the COO on the executive branch side. Welcome. Now we'll go to the review and adoption of the agenda. Okay, need a motion on the floor to the adoption of the agenda for today.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, motion for adoption by Senator Not Afraid, Montzgras, and Senator Bryce seconded. Bryce Hooks. Okay. All those in favor of the adoption of the agenda, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous, 13-0-0. Okay, at this time, we'll go to the new business, joint action resolution titled, a joint action resolution of the Crow Tribe supporting the Navajo Nation in the development and implementation of joint tribal efforts in energy development law and policies. And then there's also the other business that we'll get to. So at this time, I believe I'm gonna ask Bill Watt from the Executive Branch Legal to come to the podium and read this into record.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as you know, the committee is recommending a slightly revised resolution. Would you like me to read that one into the record, or because even the title is slightly different, or the original one here, or both?
I guess read the original, and then we can use the other one for the substitute. We'll adopt that when we get to the amendments. I believe it's an amendment, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, members of the body, and Mr. Vice Chairman and guests, the resolution is a joint resolution of the Crow Tribe supporting the Navajo Nation in the development and implementation of joint tribal efforts in energy development law and policies.
Senator Not Afraid Loshgrass.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Motion to adopt.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Senator Hugs. Continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And the resolution reads as follows. Legislative findings. Whereas Article 5, Section 2A of the Crow Tribal Constitution vests the Crow Tribal Legislature, hereinafter legislature, with the power and duty to promulgate and adopt resolutions in accordance with the Constitution and federal law for the governance of the Crow Tribe. And whereas Article 4, Section 4A of the Crow Tribal Constitution provides that the general duties of the executive branch officials shall include the duty to implement all resolutions and policies duly adopted by the legislature. And whereas Article 4, Section 3A of the Crow Tribal Constitution provides that the Crow Tribal Executive Branch shall have the power and responsibility to represent the Crow Tribe in negotiation with federal, state, and local governments and other agencies, corporations, associations, or individuals in matters of economic development affecting the Crow Tribe. And whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe have shared interests in and relating to energy. And whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe each possess abundant coal resources and both have acted to harness the development of their respective resources and ensure that the benefits of such development will primarily inure to and rebound to their members, institutions, and instrumentalities. Whereas the actions of the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe with respect to their abundant coal resources also provide direct and derivative benefits to the residents of their reservations and neighboring jurisdictions. And whereas economic development and growth in Indian country is generally anemic, and federal taxes, fees, and other regulatory burdens serve as disincentives to investing and transacting business in the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribe's respective reservations. But removing federal tax and regulatory burdens from operations within the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribe's reservations, namely the economic instrumentalities and affiliates of the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe, will serve to ameliorate conditions that stifle investment and transacting business within their reservations. And whereas the United States Environmental Protection Agency has proposed a carbon tax and new electric generating unit source performance standards for carbon dioxide emissions, which would be harmful to the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe if applied to operations within their reservations and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their coal resources. Whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe are uniquely positioned to encourage and convince the United States to avoid the imposition or application of these and other such taxes and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their coal resources. Whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe collaborating to bring the permanent extension of the Indian coal production tax credit and the express exemption of the imposition and application of tax and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations related to their coal resources, to fruition is mutually beneficial. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Crow Tribal Executive Branch and the Crow Tribal Legislative Branch in special session. The Navajo Nation formally and officially supports the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes' combined and collaborative efforts and energy, namely with regard to their respective abundant coal resources. Be it further resolved, the Navajo Nation, in collaboration with the Crow Tribe, formally and officially supports the United States' permanent extension of the Indian coal production tax credit. Be it further resolved, the Navajo Nation, in collaboration with the Crow Tribe, formally and officially opposes the imposition and application of the United States proposed carbon tax on operations within the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes reservations, and particularly on the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes' economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their respective abundant coal resources. Be it further resolved that the Navajo Nation, in collaboration with the Crow Tribe, formally and officially opposes the imposition and application of the United States Environmental Protection Agency's proposed new electric generating unit source performance standards for carbon dioxide emissions on operations within the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes reservations, and particularly on the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes' economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their respective abundant coal resources. Be it further resolved, in conjunction with the Navajo Nation Washington office, the Navajo Nation's relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representative personnel, and agents are authorized to work in collaboration with the Crow Tribes' relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents to encourage and convince the United States to avoid the imposition or application of such taxes and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their coal resources that are stated, referenced, and contemplated by this legislation. Be it further resolved, in conjunction with the Navajo Nation Washington office, the Navajo Nation's relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents are authorized to work in collaboration with the Crow Tribes' relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents to encourage and convince the United States to bring the permanent extension of the Indian coal production tax credit and the express exemption of the imposition and application of tax and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their coal resources, to fruition. This includes, but is not limited to, the Navajo Nation's collaboration with the Crow Tribe to strike or replace expiration dates and create allowances for the Indian coal production tax credit to be used against alternative minimum taxes into the future for defined or indefinite periods of time. That, be it finally resolved that upon being duly adopted by the legislature and signed into law by the tribal chairman, a certified copy of this tribal resolution shall be immediately delivered to the Secretary of the Interior in Washington, D.C. by the tribal secretary.
Okay, the 30-minute presentation. It probably won't take that long, but
Mr. Speaker, I think there are others here that are maybe more familiar with how this came about than myself, but as discussed in the committee meeting this morning, this is a rather historic collaboration between the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe to work on energy issues, and particularly the Indian coal production tax credit. This week, on the Hill, there will be meetings with senators and others relating to the Indian coal production tax credit, and many other issues to be dealt with over time and in the near future relating to maintaining our coal, the viability of our coal as a valuable asset for future new generating plants and the Indian Coal Production Tax Credit to encourage Westmoreland, Cloud Peak Energy, and others to further expand our coal production. This resolution, as initially drafted, was follows almost exactly the Navajo Nation's draft resolution at the time from 15 days ago. And since then, it has been revised as you listened while I read that. Some of the resolution, the be it resolved parts, really need to be, the Crow tribe does this with Navajo rather than the other way around. Those revisions have been made and reviewed with the committee, along with some other edits and additional references to also protecting our industry partners from additional tax burdens and regulatory burdens and the new regulations related to carbon dioxide. Mr. Vice Chair, anything you wanted to add to this? I would, so there is a substitute committee version that makes a little more sense and that the Secretary of the Natural Resources Committee has, and I know we have a clean copy here in the office. And that's, I think, what the committee would be recommending approval for, but I'll leave that and turn it over to Vice Chair Dana Wilson.
Okay, the floor recognizes Vice Chair Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. Yeah, in front of you, just this JR in support. We all know that the Navajos, the Hopis, and ourselves, the Crow, we got coal. We got a lot of coal, and that's what our basically our bread and butter is. And we're joining forces with them, so to speak, to kind of get us a better tax credit, coal tax credit, and hopefully get some more revenue, some more funding. You know, we're helping each other out. Leroy, not afraid, was down and he was talking about his trip down to Navajo country, and to have the president of the Navajo Nation kind of on our side is a pretty good deal. I'm in favor of this. I hope that you guys are too, and we hope you get a favorable vote out of this today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Okay, floor recognizes Senator Hugs.
Oh, Speaker, Secretary, Vice Chair, body, guest. Yeah, again, Jochwal, you could buy the Shukalagosh, Navajos, Wechwara, you could do Wachwara, Bashbukos. Jesus said, well, that's how we create our own footsteps forward into the future progress. It's more of progress for both. No chick belash, no CJs who can Gugus at Gahi, Wamni, and Kalelish to you. No chick belash, so then I'm in favor of this too. So I hope.
Okay. Again, any more from the body? You know, go to get I've already said that, but for the record, that this has started from the coal tax production credit. I know that there's a Senator Balkas is going to be leaving. He's retiring, but he's also part of the war. He'll be pushing for this at the Hill, and that we want a permanent coal tax production credit. And joining with the Navajo Nation, who have 600,000 members, and then Ben Shelley, their president, doesn't do anything without the voice of the people. And just like CJ earlier during Natural Resources Committee, was making a point at the cult meeting that if he says something, you know, what he says is worth the gold. You know, what he says, he'll follow through on it. So, you know, having the Navajo Nation, you know, in support with us, and then on the other one is the coal to liquids. And that's where I just shared with you that it started in Coeur d'Alene, the resolution, and I shared with you that we had to sit in some long committee meetings, giving enough time, like 10 minutes. One time it was 2 minutes to talk, but we attended about 3 committee meetings in order for this resolution on the coal to liquids to be the pilot project in Indian country throughout the United States of the 564 tribes, that we want to go to the Hill with this from the ATNI in Coeur d'Alene, and then also the NCAI. It passed the resolution unanimously, and now you know, CJ and the executive branch, they're taking this resolution over to the Hill Department of Energy and start asking to be the pilot project, and ask for money to start this coal to liquids pilot project on the Crow Reservation. That way our coal stays here, we can use it for energy. And you know, a little further, that the coal to liquids, they're doing a lot of research. This man that's a physicist, his name is Rocco Fiato. He's the physicist and been doing some researches for the past 5 years or so in China, and the coal to liquids. He's already done some headway ahead of the game by about 2 to 3 years. Rocco Fiato, and one of them is the invention of what do you call that, Bill? What did he? Algae. Creating that algae, and you know, it's made out of carbon, and every living plant needs carbon to grow. So that's one of his researches. That's one of the things that he's done. So, you know, and so the research is already there. Not only that, they're in North Dakota. They're already researching your coal right now to make jet fuel, which is which is lighter, and it's more fuel efficient. That's being done right now in North Dakota or South. What was it? North Dakota, right? It was in North Dakota. So those are what this joint action resolution is all about. And so the Crows, everybody's looking always at the Crows, and we're always, because you know, we have a sovereignty. You have a sovereignty. And so anyways, that's what they're doing with this piece of legislation. And that's why you see CJ on the road all the time. But he's been reporting and letting us know what's going on. So at this time, I'm going to hand the floor over to Senator Two-Leggings.
Oh, Speaker, Secretary, members of the body. You know, it's pretty good to see that, you know, it's good to see 2 nations, great powerful nations, coming together and working in collaborative effort to try to improve economic development strategies within their nation. And, you know, us being Crow, you know, I have seen the Navajo conduct themselves in their sessions before, and it is really amazing on how they conduct themselves. And what I would like to see is, you know, as we Crow, we come from a foundation of respect and really high family values, and you know, we have a name for the Navajo. We never knew them as Navajo. We knew them as people with the striped blankets, and I think it would be really symbolic in reference to, you know, if we had referenced them as how we knew them in this piece of legislation. And you know, I just kind of think it would be really well respected that we do have a name for the Navajo. We don't know them as Navajo. That's the English name. We have a Crow name for them. And you know, it'd be really neat if we incorporate our respected cultural and value into this piece of legislation, which we are losing highly in today's society. Is we're losing our language and our respect, and you know, any little thing to try and save our cultural aspects in life would be great. So you know, I just wanted to say that. Oh.
Okay, if there's no more, we can move on to, that was a good point. I think they call themselves the Dinne, or how do you say that? Did I pronounce it right? Dinne. And I believe that's what he's saying. Okay, at this time, we'll move on over to the chairman. He left, but he had a committee meeting earlier, and so I'm going to hand it over to the secretary at the Natural Resources Committee, Senator Bryce Hooks, for the committee recommendation.
All right, hello, Speaker, Secretary, Vice Chairman, body, guests. Yeah, no meeting. I missed the meeting, but now I got CJ's notes. So the motion was made by Senator Duke, Speaker, second by Leroy Not Afraid, question by Gerald, and the vote was 13-0-0 in favor of passage.
Okay, thank you. So that was myself, I did the motion for its approval to the food legislature to pass it on the floor, seconded by Senator Not Afraid of Lodgegrass and questioned by Senator Stewart of Wyola, and it passed 13-0-0. Okay, the floor is open. Go ahead.
That was for the substitute version.
Oh yes, the substitute version. Okay, the substitute version, got a clarification. So it passed 13-0-0. So at this time, the floor is open to debate on the proposed legislation. The floor is open. First call, second call. Okay, floor recognizes Senator Marlon Not Afraid, Bicorn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, Vice Chair, and the body. I just have a question, or would like executive legal to kind of expound on the coal tax credit. I know what this is all about, and I'm for it. I'm not against it or nothing, but I know this is a good thing with the Crow tribe and Bishkachilia. Senator Noel's suggestion. Absoluut eerlijk, ik beschouw jullie ook zo production kutaje wat charging. I know that this coal tax credit, the permanent extension of coal tax credit, and then the new United States regulatory burdens, like emissions control and electric. Coal, these two nations are coming together to fight these type of burdens together. And that coal tax credit, I just want a executive legal to kind of expound on that.
Okay, floor recognizes Bill Watt to explain the coal tax production credit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Senator Not Afraid, for the chance to discuss this further. I maybe should have done that in the original presentation. As I think you all know, though, the Indian Coal Production Tax Credit was enacted originally in the Energy Policy Act of 2005, and at that time, sulfur dioxide allowances, there's a market that you have to buy the right to emit sulfur dioxide, in essence, and they had gone through the ceiling to increase from $150 a ton to more than $1,000, and that was really creating a hardship for our coal being burned by XL and Northern States Power over there in the upper Midwest. So initially it was intended to offset that sulfur dioxide cost, but it was enacted for a period of 7 years, so it originally went through the end of 2012, and then early last year Congress extended it for 1 year through the end of this year in an omnibus tax bill. So as things stand right now, it expires at the end of this year. It's, the credit is a little more than $2 per ton. It's subject to escalation, and it allows a producer to basically reduce their taxes by their federal income taxes by the amount of that credit. Now, coal companies often don't have a lot of federal income tax liability because of some of the other deductions there are in the natural resources field and because of the nature of their business. So we've entered into quite a complex arrangement with Westmoreland, whereby another entity, a wing of Fidelity Investments, actually is able to use the credit and pays Westmoreland 90% of the value of that credit, and we in turn get a third of what Westmoreland gets of the credit as a direct payment to the tribe, in addition to the taxes, that is the production taxes and royalties on our coal. But probably more importantly, it helps in the, it makes it cheaper to mine our coal and thus encourages the development of coal. And really that offsets the additional regulatory burdens and delays and difficulties that it takes to develop Indian resources, and especially with all the fractionated surface ownership and other things that cause it to take longer and cost more to permit and develop our coal resources. So as we've been telling Congress, it helps level the playing field, also helps level the playing field a little bit against these 50, 60 million ton per year mines when ours is only 5 or 6. And the permanent extension of that credit would assist a great deal in encouraging our mine to stay open. The development of the Track 1 lease that recently was approved by this body and by the Bureau of Indian Affairs, as well as the Cloud Peak Big Metal area. Anything else you wanted to know or that I left out?
Good.
No, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In addition, CJ, when he was at NCAI, on the coal tax production credit, Cloud Peak Energy and Westmoreland, I believe, kicked in $60,000 apiece for $120,000 research how this coal tax production credit impacts not only the Navajo or the Crow, but it impacts what was that other word? It impacts financially. It helps them, the economy. So they're doing a research that it's a positive impact on the economy in the surrounding areas of Crow coal and the Navajo coal. Not only that, as the Navajo is also buying out all the coal around their area, in the 4 states area actually. They're buying all the coal companies. So Cloud Peak and Westmoreland have kicked in that research. That way they're gonna get, I believe this research got to be done in order to take it to the Hill for lobbying. Not only this is important, but they've already done that. So, so, and now not only that, they're really getting after Obama on the Obamacare, but also on the energy resource tribes, as well as the energy there in West Virginia. It affecting them, about 1,200 coal miners, underground coal miners. So, everything's kind of working out together, and hopefully, something will get done, and this coal tax production credit will be permanent. Okay, did that suffice, Senator? Not afraid. Go.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, okay, then we'll move on to the amendment right now. And at this time, I'm gonna ask, Bill Watt to read the substitute resolution that was presented and passed 1300 this morning's, Natural Resources Committee. At this time, the floor recognizes Legal Bill Watt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think it would be easier to read the whole thing again at the risk of boring you. But I think it reads a lot better.
No, this is why we're here, Bill, so go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, members of the body, and guests, the substitute resolution reads as follows, including a change to the heading. A joint resolution of the Crow Tribe supporting and working with the Navajo Nation in the development and implementation of joint tribal efforts in energy development law and policies. Legislative findings. Whereas Article 5, Section 2A of the Crow Tribal Constitution vests the Crow Tribal Legislature hereinafter the Legislature with the power and duty to promulgate and adopt resolutions in accordance with the Constitution and federal law for the governance of the Crow Tribe. And whereas Article 4, Section 4A of the Crow Tribal Constitution provides that the general duties of the executive branch officials shall include the duty to implement all resolutions and policies duly adopted by the legislature. And whereas Article 4, Section 3A of the Crow Tribal Constitution provides that the Crow Tribal Executive Branch shall have the power and responsibility to represent the Crow Tribe in negotiation with federal, state, and local governments and other agencies, corporations, associations, or individuals in matters of economic development affecting the Crow Tribe. And whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe have shared interests in and relating to energy development, and whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe each possess abundant coal resources and both have acted to harness the development of their respective resources and ensure that the benefits of such development will primarily inure and rebound to their members, institutions, and instrumentalities. And whereas the actions of the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe with respect to their abundant coal resources also provide direct and derivative benefits to the other residents of their reservations and neighboring jurisdictions. And whereas economic development and growth in Indian country is generally anemic, and federal taxes, fees, and other regulatory burdens serve as disincentives to investing and transacting business in the Navajo Nation's and Crow Tribe's respective reservations. But removing federal tax and regulatory burdens from the operations within the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribe's reservations, namely the economic instrumentalities and affiliates of the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe, will serve to ameliorate conditions that stifle investment in transacting business within their reservations. Whereas the United States Environmental Protection Agency has proposed a carbon tax and a new electric generating unit source performance standards for carbon dioxide emissions, which would be harmful to the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe if applied to operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their coal resources and to other power plants that utilize their coal. And whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe are uniquely positioned to encourage and convince the United States to avoid the imposition or application of these and other such taxes and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates and industry partners conducting operations relating to their coal resources. And whereas the Navajo Nation and the Crow Tribe collaborating to bring to fruition the permanent extension of the Indian Coal Production Tax Credit and the express exemption of the imposition and application of tax and regulatory burdens on operation within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates and industry partners conducting operations relating to their coal resources, is mutually beneficial. Now therefore be it hereby resolved by the Crow Tribal Executive Branch and the Crow Tribal Legislative Branch in special session. The Crow Tribe formally and officially supports the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribe's combined and collaborative efforts in energy development, namely with regard to their respective abundant coal resources. Be it further resolved The Crow Tribe, in collaboration with the Navajo Nation, formally and officially supports the United States' permanent extension of the Indian coal production tax credit. Be it further resolved, the Crow Tribe, in collaboration with the Navajo Nation, formally and officially opposes the imposition and application of the United States proposed carbon tax on power plants that utilize their coal, operations within the Navajo Nations and Crow Tribes reservations, and particularly on the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their respective abundant coal resources. Be it further resolved, the Crow Tribe, in collaboration with the Navajo Nation, formally and officially opposes the imposition and application of the United States Environmental Protection Agency's proposed new electric generating unit source performance standards for carbon dioxide emissions on power plants that utilize their coal, operations within the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes reservations, and particularly on the Navajo Nations and the Crow Tribes economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their respective abundant coal resources. Be it further resolved, the Crow Tribes' relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents are authorized to work in conjunction and collaboration with the Navajo Nation Washington office, the Navajo Nation's relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents to encourage and convince the United States to avoid the imposition or application of such taxes and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates and industry partners conducting operations relating to their coal resources that are stated, referenced, and contemplated by this joint action resolution. Be it further resolved, the Crow Tribe's relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents are authorized to work in conjunction and collaboration with the Navajo Nation Washington office, the Navajo Nation's relevant governmental and political subdivisions, offices, instrumentalities, entities, representatives, personnel, and agents to encourage and convince the United States to bring to fruition the permanent extension of the Indian coal production tax credit and the express exemption of the imposition and application of tax and regulatory burdens on operations within their reservations, and particularly their economic instrumentalities and affiliates conducting operations relating to their coal resources. This includes, but is not limited to, the Crow Tribe's collaboration with the Navajo Nation to strike or replace expiration dates and create allowances for the Indian coal production tax credit to be used against alternative minimum taxes into the future for defined or indefinite periods of time. Be it finally resolved that upon being duly adopted by the Crow Tribal Legislature and signed into law by the Crow Tribal Chairman, a certified copy of this joint action resolution shall be immediately delivered to the Secretary of the Interior in Washington, D.C. by the Tribal Secretary.
Okay, at this time, is there any recommendations or motions for amendments to vote? The amendment, floor is open. Okay.
Speaker.
Floor recognizes Senator Not Afraid Lotchgrass.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Vice Chairman, honored guests, and members of the body. Mr. Secretary, please correct me if I'm wrong. However, I'd like to motion that we approve the substitute resolution as an amendment. I'll offer that up as an amendment to the original proposed legislation. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, is there a second? Second by Senator Not Afraid, question by Senator Hugs. All those in favor of approving the substitute resolution, raise your right hand. Okay. 13 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain. Okay, any more amendments on the floor? The floor recognizes Senator Tulegans.
Oh, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, members of the body, visiting guests. Yes, Mr. Speaker, I do have an amendment to this piece of legislation, and I wanted it to be incorporated on the fourth whereas, and I've written it down here, and I've shared it with Bill, and he said he's okay with it, so I'll just read it into record. On a fourth whereas, it's going to state after the Navajo Nation, it's in parentheses, it's going to be Bishkachile, known as the people with striped blankets. And that's going to be added onto the fourth whereas, and it's going to continue on to, and the Crow tribe have shared interests in and relating to energy development. That I make that in the form of a motion, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, is there a second to this Senator Tulegans' motion to the Navajo Nation, the Crow word that says with striped blankets of Bishkachilya. Seconded it by Senator Not Afraid of Bighorn, questioned by Senator Bryce Huggs. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. Okay, motion, the amendment has passed by Senator Tulegans, seconded by Senator Not Afraid Bighorn, questioned by Senator Huggs of prior passed 13-0-0. Any more amendments on the floor? First call, second call, okay, third call. Okay, we'll go to the second reading. Go ahead, Senator Not Afraid Loshgrass.
Thank you. I'm off. I think I'm out of batteries. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body. At this time, I move that we waive second reading with the amendments and move into final roll call vote.
Okay, the motion has been made, seconded by Senator Huggs, questioned by Senator D. Crane, that we waive second reading with the substitute amendment resolution and go to final roll call vote. Senator Tulegans, Black Lodge. Whoa, waiving the motion, all those in favor of the second reading, passing with the amendments, raise your right hand. Okay. Okay, Senator Tulegans for final roll call vote.
Tulegans, Black Lodge, yes.
Pretty Pate, Black Lodge, yes.
Other medicine, Reno, yes.
Kyle Reno, yes.
Not afraid, Oshpajitcha, yes.
Cover Blackbeard, yes.
Not Afraid Bighorn, yes.
Sugar Arm, yes.
Deep Drain, Harold Creek, yes. Hug, Zero Creek, yes. Stewart, Mighty Few, yes. Old Crow, yes.
Goes ahead, Bapua, yes.
13-0-0.
Okay, the joint action resolution, the substitute resolution of the Crow tribe supporting and working with the Navajo Nation, Bishkachilish, in the development and implementation of joint tribal efforts in energy development law and policies has passed 13-0-0. Okay, want to say a few words, Vice Chair Wilson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, members of the body, esteemed guests. Thank you for your support in this piece of legislation. I hope to see good things in regards to our co-development. Now we have a partner, so I expect good things to happen for the benefit of all Crow people. On another note, I'd like to take this time, if I may, Mr. Speaker, to address the outgoing senators. You know, it's been a pleasure. I served with you here on legislature, and you know, we had a lot of good. You know, we voted on a lot of tough issues. You know, sometimes we're on opposite sides of the deal. Some of you left me on the battlefield by myself, but you know, it's okay. All right. No, but, you know, it's been a pleasure, you know, serving with you guys. You know, each and every one of you brought your own unique, ideas and things to our branch of government. And, you know, we look forward to, you know, working with you sometime in the future, wherever you may be. You know, we're all crows at the end of the day. You know, we all pray for each other. We all, have good thoughts and good wishes for one another. And, thank you for your support. Legislative branch on behalf of the executive branch. Oh,
Thanks for those, kind words. It hurts, huh, when you're left out there in the battlefield alone.
Point of order.
Kot kirage, Putzkush, Bauschbal, do come back. Because, let's get this other, LR done. Yeah, again, it's 12:46 and we'll start at 1:46. Okay? All right, let's go to Putz.